Right. And
Done
actually,
and done.
I'm just going to say that Sheila is one of our very, very favorite presenters. And so I'm going to let her introduce herself.
I love that. Hi, everyone. I am thrilled to be here. I love this group. This is one of the most dynamic community resources that you can all be a part of. And so I just love being invited in. There are so many different topics that, people can cover. But, I wanted to start with, my name's Sheila Clemenson. If you don't know me, I own Transitions Coaching Services. I'm a certified career coach, an HR consultant, and I'm a grief wellness professional. I help with moving you forward in a variety of different ways, in particular when people are stuck. So my background is human resources over 25 plus years, and I've stopped counting. Let's just put it that way. And, a lot of different industries. I'm from Michigan. I've lived in Colorado 20 years this year. I'm allowed to stay because my husband is a Colorado native. So I just want to say, um, I started in the automotive industry. So I started in a techie world, Mazda research and development. It was my fun first job out of college. And from there, I, really had worked in manufacturing firms. I worked in hospitality retail. I've worked in healthcare for Boulder Community Health for 9 years. And then I started my own career coaching business because this is what I really want to do is help people connect with a really awesome job that you love, meaningful, purposeful work that's going to help you move forward in your life and you're just going to love it. So that's really what I'm all about. And there was a lot of a story there that I did not share that I'm going to be sharing during our time today. Because I'm a newly published author, and I'm going to share a little bit about that. So I just, Don connected with me, and Don's like, okay, we want you to speak, here's all the topics that we've done. Well, what is a topic that we haven't really looked at? And, right now, I'm focusing a lot on resilience. I'm focusing a lot on rebuilding careers, and I'm focusing on a lot of grief and loss, because that's the book that I've written is about grief and loss. Um, what I've realized is that grief and loss touches our lives in so many ways. And when we are looking for a job, and whatever brought us to that place, this can be getting laid off, which has happened to a lot of people over the last year. I have seen layoffs happening with more seasoned professionals that I would have never even imagined a company would let go. And so a lot of my clients that I'm working with are finding themselves in that situation, right? So we can say loss from a perspective of job loss. I also want to say from the perspective of a loss of identity, loss of yourself. Okay, when you've invested so much of yourself in your career professionally, and then you've been working for a place for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and then someone says, okay, we're laying you off, or would you like to take an early retirement? And on occasion, if you are in higher level positions in particular, you are not always going to know you are being laid off. You are going to be told that you're being laid off that day, and you're going to be closed out of the system and escorted out of the company. And this is just because you have so much connection with everything that you no longer do when they decide to let you go. What have I experienced and seen in my clients? A lot of pain, a lot of emotional pain in not being able to say goodbye and not having any closure with the people that they've worked with. Number one. Okay. And when you have built your career in even a leadership role and a very specific role of a particular expertise, right? Not having that closure, um, it's debilitating when you're coming out the gates and you're trying to show your best self and sell yourself for that next opportunity. So what I'm realizing is that people are coming in and yes, they want to start working on moving forward. And there's a certain amount of holding space with processing what has happened in that employment situation to move forward for themselves. And so, yes, Helen, I love what you do, right? Like therapy is so important. And I say, you know, take advantage of whatever therapy you can. Sometimes you can still take advantage of employee assistance programs. If it's not too far since you've been gone from the company, they may still offer that program available to you. And you can go in and have some good conversations with a therapist who can help you process what you've been through in that separation. Okay, so I just wanted to just kind of start from that place. I want to just say that, you know, I'm creating a safe space for all of us in that place because people get uncomfortable when they talk about grief and loss and all these other things. And I want to say that this presentation will be a little bit more uplifting than that, but I just want you to know that it's okay. It's okay to bring those emotions to this networking group because this group is here to support everybody. And we don't always have to put our best face on. We don't within these groups and people who are helping us. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, get into my presentation, which, you know, I kind of use this as an opportunity to kind of just share, but I don't like to follow everything that I have in my presentation. So I like to talk a bit off of that. Yes, when I was looking at putting this together, I'm like, what picture really represents how you might feel right now? And what does that look like is feeling alone, right? Most of us feel alone and we're like, okay, now I'm out of my community and my organization and who am I connecting with now? And so this really is about how we can tap into building career resilience in the face of adversity, whatever has happened to you. Going to start off with, hey, what gets you up in the morning? And I'm not talking about work now. I'm talking about like what really gets you up in the morning? What jazzes you? What gets you excited? If that's your most favorite cup of coffee, that is okay. So I just want to say that, you know, be thoughtful here in where you are in your life right now and share in the chat, like what gets you up in the morning? Especially if you're not working and it's not your job anymore. Does anybody want to share like what they're doing? Volunteer work, absolutely.
Yeah.
Taking a
Being
walk
of
with your
service.
dog. Yes, being of service. I would say my dog's taking me for a walk, but that's a whole other thing. Your kids. Yeah. Yes. You know, these the reasons why you go to work, the reasons why you're connecting professionally with what you do. Yes, supporting your family, friends, and community. Yes. And we're going to talk about a couple of studies that have shown that this is the best thing that you can do in building your resilience, Helen, is supporting your family, friends, and being in your community. So I want to say you're all exactly where you need to be right now. Okay, I'm going to get out of my chat. And I don't know why. Once I get in here, sometimes I can't change things. The next question that I have for all of you is what keeps you up at night? And since it might not any longer be your job, it's probably looking for a job and or it's other things that you're thinking about. So tell me, what keeps you up at night? Stress. Yeah. I'm not good enough.
Oh, yeah.
How many more jobs do I have to apply for before they pay attention to me? And let me tell you that I have had so many clients contact me recently that have been looking for about I would say 4 weeks, about a month, right? Where they're just fairly newly separated. They're putting a lot of applications out there, all of these things, right? And they're like, what's wrong with me? I thought that I was a valued, staff member. I thought that I was giving everything that I needed to give. Yes, Amanda, I'm connecting with you with regard to the Marshall Fire. My heart goes out to you with all of that. That is insane. I live in Louisville. My husband's a retired firefighter EMT, so we have a lot of community here going through that. Your neighbor's cats keep you up. Yes, something needs to be done about that. Fear in its many forms, false evidence appearing real. And we're sitting in those places, right? Where you're like laying there going, oh my gosh, where's my next income? Where's my next check gonna come from? What I want to say is, I don't know if many of you have noticed this who have been in this job search for a while, or Trent, Amy, Cher, Don. I am noticing a much more sluggish job search market right now. And when I say sluggish, I say companies are being far more conservative in their hiring processes. Even if they're posting positions, they want to ensure that financially they don't have any hiccups coming up or forecasted, that they're going to have to lay off people who are newly hired. And I want to say that I'm seeing a lot of that right now. So I think that the normal, quote unquote, amount of time that you might see responses, if you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, is a little more delayed than normal. And I want to say that that is normal. So I just want to say that all the efforts that you're doing and putting your irons in the fire, throwing your hat in the ring, and doing what you need to be doing, I really get a sense that you're all doing that, and you're all showing up in this networking group. And that's one of the most important things that you can do, right? Saying 80% of people connect with positions through I want to say their acquaintances of their acquaintances. This isn't people that you know exceptionally well. These are acquaintances of acquaintances that are referring you. So this is why this job search group is so fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, one data point I can offer in terms of that sluggishness sense that you're having is I got a message from a person that had attended last week. Anyway, I got messaging within LinkedIn. She told me that in the last, I think she said 2 weeks, she had had 18 interviews and had one offer letter, and was, kind of wondering, like, what's going on? Why haven't I gotten hired yet? Right. And so definitely, anyway, that's a data point. So.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Someone else made a comment in the chat about election years, right? And I mean, I just want to say without going into any of all of that, the insanity that we are living in right now doesn't do anything good for us. So I just say, if you need to take those social media breaks, just take them. I think one happened with Meta yesterday, like naturally they closed people out of their accounts. I just say, yay, maybe I don't need to be in there today. So I just say, take some of those social media breaks if you need to. Where I'm going with some of this is, okay, what keeps you up at night and what are you going to do about it? Right. And here we are about doing, right? We're like achievers and we got to do this. And what are we going to do about this? Yes, we're going to do things. And we're also going to be thoughtful and think about things too in this time together, because it is not all about doing, but it is about initiating. It is about taking thoughtful action. I pulled some of this from a book that I've been connecting with, written by Seth Godin. He has done The Purple Cow, The Dip. He's also written a book called Tribes that is really amazing about leadership. And there are 3 different ways typically that people respond to stress, to situations. They react, they respond, or they initiate. So I want to say with that, when we're reactive and we're living in that fear state, we're instinctual. Our attitude tends to come in a bit more, maybe some of that sarcasm or, things getting kind of old. Our character strengths really come to the surface, and we're going to talk more about our strengths and how to really focus on those. If one of them's positivity, awesome. You see the glass half full, but it's not going to be all the time, especially when you're discouraged. When you're responding, you're taking that thoughtful action. That's what you're doing here. You're connecting, you're using that intuition, and you're connecting with other people and making good, thoughtful choices in terms of what you need to be doing. And then that judgment or those critical thinking skills, right? Which is that, ooh, yeah, they're going to analyze, okay, I'm going to connect with these people because they know these people and this kind of thing. That takes us into initiative as well and initiating things. So when Helen, you talk about, should I cold call these people? I say, yes. I don't think people are calling people very much anymore. And I think sometimes people are still answering their phones. And I want to say that sometimes in a strategic way, you can reach out to people who might be very interested in talking to you, but it's in the approach. And so we have to be intentional about how we're approaching people when we're reaching out to them. And in particular, being respectful of time. Maybe Zoom coffee chats for 10 minutes or 15-minute breaks or different things like that. And, really being thoughtful and, what do you offer and what can you share and different things like that, which is really about focusing on your value proposition and what it is that you bring to an organization and or that person that you're talking to. Being strategic and making things happen is something that is a little bit more, I want to say it's not as comfortable, right? I want to say that, you really have to think about how you're going to be unique and how are you going to get your foot in the door and how are you going to talk to that person. And that making things happen is sometimes about giving yourself the opportunity to be invited in, which doesn't always mean that it's forceful, and it doesn't always mean that you have to be that salesy person that everyone is annoyed by, okay? Because I'm going to say that the number one thing that I hear a lot of clients say is, I don't want to annoy people. I really don't want to be that person that they're dreading that phone call from anymore, right? And so that's why I also say that bringing that value proposition and that what do you bring and why would it be a good idea for me to talk to you is something that you can be thoughtful about. We can certainly brainstorm about if you want to do a complimentary session with me. Today, we're going to explore what is resilience and how do we adapt to these challenges that show up? How do we stay true to what is most important to us? How do we re-energize and, more importantly, show up for yourself? And how can you make the most of this in-between time when you are not working? Because I'm going to tell you, there is so much living to be done right now while you're looking for your position. And so, yes, that's where we're going. And I just say, if you have any questions or any comments, you can feel free to, unmute and just ask, or you can put it in the chat. And if I'm not catching it, Amy or Trent, if you're able to catch that and you want to share that, feel free to do so. When I started thinking about, I want to talk about grief and loss, and I want to, see kind of where people are and kind of, get into those feelings, I recognize that in professional groups, we don't really want to go there. So we really want to talk about actions and what we can do. And a lot of us are achievers. And so we're going to talk about, well, what is it that we can do to make our lives better? What is resilience? A quick look in dictionaries when I Googled it, because Google's still awesome. AI's going up there, but it's going to be right at where Google is it's very soon. The capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. They might say toughness. I like the American Psychological Association's definition better. The process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult and challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demands. That is much more inclusive of all of the challenges that we are faced in putting ourselves out there, especially through this process, and trying to get to the other side of it in a way that we're going to be successful. Okay. So I want to ask you, what kinds of challenges or difficulties have you faced recently? And then I want to say, let's go maybe a few years down the line and just say, you know, COVID wasn't that too far away. You know, that wasn't too long ago. How much loss have we been through over the last 4 years? And today is March 7th. March 7th, 4 years ago, I went to an Oprah Winfrey visioning thing at the Ball Arena. Terrified but I was so happy I was in the nosebleed section. Because that was 10 days before they closed everything down. All of us who are in this particular group today have lived through that. Maybe barely by the skin of our teeth. Maybe some of us are wondering how we did it. And some of us we didn't bring everybody with us through that also. Okay. So I want to say that, you know, the world has changed dramatically since March of 2020. I want to say that the world of working has been significantly impacted in probably a more positive way than we could have ever imagined through this huge global disaster and traumatic event. We all realize that we all have lives. We all realize that our cats like to sit on our computers. We all realize that, you know, our office mates might be our pets, that our kids might interrupt our meeting and decide that, you know, we need to, you know, attend to something. And heaven forbid that we might even have a lot of extra toilet paper that's stashed behind our desks. You know, so I want to say that, you know, it wasn't too long ago that we're bringing these experiences forward. And, you know, what we're moving forward from there, we've got the layoffs, yes, that have been happening in tech over the last year, significant layoffs in tech, which is, you know, a very big, strong community here, Boulder, Denver. We're a tech mecca, okay? I have clients who are in Silicon Valley who kind of cross between Boulder and that area. As well, we have a lot of California people who've moved to Colorado, as well as the Texans, as well as the New Yorkers. We've got everybody moving here. It's making competition even harder for all of us here locally too. Physical, mental health issues. We're in mental health crisis, you know, in our country. It's continuing to be that. So anybody who's working within mental health, that's really important. And the challenges that people are having in job search, those feelings of not being good enough, those feelings of imposter syndrome, those feelings of stepping outside of your comfort zone and how difficult that is. It's harder. And it's getting harder to hold space with all of that. So taking care of ourselves is becoming more important and more significant. Family problems. You know, I think someone talked about financial issues, the Marshall Fire, right? Like, oh my gosh, I was a half mile from the burn line, but the people who lost their homes, and I want to say the people who had a lot of damage but did not lose their homes have gone through even more. and it's been really hard. Illnesses, separations with families, with loved ones through COVID, especially if you had a loved one who lived in another country, you weren't seeing them for a while. And so I want to say that, you know, these unique and unusual life scenarios and situations have really put a strain on all of us. And this concept of resilience and moving forward through that is what all of us are going to have the story to share with our kids and their kids moving forward. That loss piece, I want to say death and divorce, right? I want to say that during COVID, I had so many clients come in and they were like, I'm leaving my husband, I'm getting a new job, I'm moving to another state, and can I add a few more things to that list? And all I could think was is building a career coaching business through COVID was not what I had planned, but it actually was a really great thing for me. And people weren't able to spend their money on anything else, so they were going to spend their money on figuring stuff out because they weren't going to live the life the same way that they were doing it for a while, right? And we were given this pause to breathe and to actually take an inventory of what we really wanted to do. And I want to say that you all have the opportunity to take that inventory again now. As you're redefining yourself, as you are connecting with a new opportunity, you have the opportunity to define your new career, your new self, how you want to show up in this world and move forward. And it doesn't have to be what you did before. You can start day one right now, today, to do that. How do we adapt to these challenges? I love Charles Darwin's comment, quote, "It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." How many of you have gotten very comfortable in your professional bubble? I want to say that most of us get extremely comfortable and routined in our professional bubbles. And that means that we don't stretch ourselves. We don't go out and necessarily meet those people that we don't need to meet. People who haven't looked for a job in 10 to 20 years, they've never even looked at LinkedIn. They have no idea what it even is and how they're supposed to use it. You know, and it's because they've gotten a little bit too comfortable. But I also want to say that adaptability is our greatest strength. And the fact that we're able to navigate through the twists and turns of where we're going, being flexible, open to new ideas, experiences, and challenges is really what is going to open the door for us moving forward in the best way. So I pulled some funny pictures just because I could. And, you know, stepping outside of your comfort zones, it doesn't mean you have to do rock climbing. I can't think of anything more terrifying. And I have friends who do it and I just have no idea how they even do that. The ice climbing in your ray is even more crazy. Embracing the unknown. Yes. We need to do more of that. Showing up at these networking groups and not knowing anybody, but like kind of coming in with like ooh, I'm kind of curious. What do I need to do? I say, be curious. Use that curious value, that curious opportunity that you all have. A lot of you have this love of learning that's like really instinctual to you. Use that curiosity to go and just explore and meet something new. Do something new, whatever that is, just do it. Even if it's going for coffee at a different place that you haven't been to before, do it. You never know who you're going to sit next to and who you're going to meet. Welcome challenges. You might say, I'm really significantly challenged right now. I really don't need any more. And you'd be right. So you are welcoming the challenge right now of finding a new and awesome job. Congratulations to you. I want to say with welcoming those challenges, right? I want to say that when you're looking at new positions, right? I tell my clients, how much do you want to stretch? How much do you want to stretch moving into a new industry and a new job family in a new particular kind of scope of work that you might be doing? I love, love, love all of you who are talking about leveling up and upskilling, okay? And using this as an opportunity to do that. I have a lot of clients who are getting certifications and they're doing courses on Google project management and they're doing Coursera and they're doing a lot of these things. That is an awesome way to upskill right now, because really that may be the bridge that you need to get you noticed in a new position. So I want to say that is the single-handedly one of the most awesome ways that you can help yourself right now. And that might be a challenge, especially if it's an area that you're stretching into. Some people are noticing they maybe need to do a little bit of programming that they wouldn't have normally done with their jobs. I know AI is coming in a lot of different ways. So I say just jump into whatever you can in exploring any of those programs that might be something that sets you apart from someone else. And then I'm just going to say, seize opportunities and say yes. When I left Boulder Community Health with my hair on fire, not literally, running out of there in job burnout, this was in 2017, I was recruiting in the nursing shortage for 140 clinical positions, and I was doing 2 other jobs as an HR advisor, etc. I left there really needing to figure out what I was going to do, and I couldn't do what I was doing any longer. So I sat there and I said, what am I going to do? And the book came across my desk that was written by Shonda Rhimes. It's called My Year of Saying Yes. And it's like dancing, da 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 da. It's a longer title. But really, this was how she created her Shondaland. She said yes to all of the opportunities that came in, whether she knew what they were going to bring her or not. She wasn't selective. She just said, yes, yes, I'm going to go. Yes, I'm going to go. Yes, I was being invited in. Yes, I'm going. And I want to say that is one of the best things that you can all do for yourself right now. I decided to say yes to everything. I had somebody from LinkedIn and they're like, hey, you want to do volunteer programs and put programs out there for people? And I'm like, yes. My husband said, I didn't know you were a LinkedIn expert. And I said, I'm not, but I'm working on it. I was terrified, but it opened the door for me to go and be a volunteer career navigator at Dress for Success. And I was able to connect with an amazing community there. I also said yes to a leads group. Why was a career coach going to join a leads group? They're a bunch of business people. They don't need career coaches. I still went. I'm a part of this group. It's the most amazing group of people that I've ever known. Superior Chamber. It's amazing. And through that, I became known in my community. I built my integrity. I built my reputation. I have had so many things come into me that I would have never been able to predict. So what I want to say about that is when you say yes to things, don't pretend like you know what you're going to get from saying yes to those things. You're going to be surprised, and there will be things that come in for you that you would have never expected. So that's another thing that I want to say. Say yes to something you would normally say no to and see what happens, and just be curious, because what else are you going to do? Okay. Just saying, there's a lot of other things that you can do. I'm being kind of sarcastic, but really, you have some time right now that you can do some of these things. Okay. Anybody have any comments? Anything they want to say about this? Any shares?
It's the rules of improv.
Oh, yes, right. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. How am I doing on time, people? Okay.
You have about 10 minutes until it's 10:30. So
Okay.
Depending
Okay.
on how you want to do things. I think I would just want to echo what Sheila just said about saying yes and kind of volunteering. That's come up a couple of times today. And I think the essence of feeling defeated and kind of working through this grief and loss and everything else of not having a job, you start questioning, well, maybe I can't do anything. You would be amazed. And I'm literally just echoing what Sheila just said. say yes, volunteer somewhere, because you will find your people. You're going to find what you're drawn to again. If you show up to a group and you're not feeling the vibe, it's not the right group. Go to the next one. So super words of wisdom
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Sheila. It's just, you got to keep trying, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, and I want to say that even introverts, I'm a double extrovert, but I'm becoming a little more introverted over time. Even introverts, if you're an introverted person, right? Building community is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself as an individual. Okay. And so I want to say that find your tribe, find your group, find those people that you want to connect with, who want to connect with you. Engage the people who want to champion you and be supportive of you. There are plenty of people who are going to kick you and knock you down. Okay. There are plenty of people who don't have time for you. There are plenty of people who, don't want to hear about your problems. Go to the people that are going to support you, like this group. We can choose who we want to spend our time with. Spend your time with those people. I mean, all this is common sense, right? But we still need the reminders, especially when we're down, especially when we need to know how we're going to pick ourselves up and persevere today and apply for those 5 jobs that we haven't found yet. Engagement, accomplishment, communication, creativity. These are just a few values, but I say, how do you stay true to your values and what is most important to you? Do not let that go because of where you are. If anything, stand in it firmly and know those values are going to help you find that next company that shares those, that team that shares those values, and you're going to be living into those values when you go to work for the right company in the right position. I say, a lot of people I work with are achievers and they're about accomplishing. So I say, are you achieving what is most important to you? Are you engaged? Are you all in? Are you collaborating with others? Are you being creative and using your problem solving, using your curiosity, using your love of learning? These are some things that you could focus on. All right. I'm trying to get in here. Okay. What I'm all talking about here is showing up for yourself. How do you re-energize and resource yourself? I call it resourcing yourself to replenish your energy. What you are doing, you are living in a very, very challenging time, and you need to nurture and replenish yourself. I want to say none of this is anything that you don't know, but I want to question, how much are you doing this? And have you marked out time on your calendar to do some of these things? Because this is what you're going to do today. You're going to mark out something on your calendar that you need to spend time doing that you keep telling yourself, but you haven't been doing. And you're going to make the commitment to you today. Own your self-care. Ask for what you need. I did a sound healing last night. I had a pampering experience with a little facial and like a hand thing. I didn't have time to do that. I didn't have time to not do that. After I was done, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the best way that I could have spent an hour. So I want to say that even if you don't have time, or if you can't make time, or the financial side of it, that one's very real. There are still things on this list that you can do that don't cost money. Identify your list of needs, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. There are things that you need that you're not connecting with. You might be giving all of your physical needs your time. You might not be looking at your mental needs. So I want to say just today, what do you need to do most for yourself today? And I want you to put that on your calendar. It could be your physical needs. Do you need to eat healthier? Do you need to drink more water? Yes, I always need to drink more water and I don't. Drink more water. Get some right now. Well, after this. Get more sleep. What are you doing that you're not getting enough sleep? Exercise. Go out for a walk. You don't have to do some, CrossFit program that's going to kill you. you can just do something that is a little easier. Unless that challenges you and you like it. Emotional needs, surround yourself with supportive people like you are doing right now, like I had talked about. Don't hang out with those naysayers. Don't hang out with those people that aren't helping you. Okay? Don't let those energy vampires suck the life out of you. Stay away from those people. It's most important right now more than ever. Create strong boundaries, and that's exactly what it is. I don't have time. I have something else going on. You don't even have to tell them why. You can just say no. I'm just going to say no. I don't even have to tell you why. I don't even have to make up an excuse. No, it doesn't work for me. Use that at least one time today. No, that doesn't work for me. And just don't say anything else. Mental needs, learn a new hobby, skill, game, indulge yourself in an interesting book or some new music. When is the last time you did that? Get a fun book, not one of those self-help books that you know you need to read. Get one of those crazy books that science fiction, whatever, that like you've been thinking about reading that has absolutely nothing to do with moving your career forward. Just do it because it's fun. Spiritual needs, meditation, prayer, gratitude, affirmations, nature walks, journaling. I know that that's going into that area, but we all have spiritual needs that we need to be thoughtful about how we want to take care of those. I want to say meditation and breath work and breathing is going to help you more than anything.
I think gratitude is huge in helping you just feel just tuned in, right? I mean, no matter how bad things are, we are just being in this country. I mean, it's so easy to watch the news and just get torn down. Yeah. But when you really kind of think about, well, what is my situation really compared to some of the others situations I could be in? Just focusing on the gratitude stuff as a reality check.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
this is about making the most of your time in between jobs as you navigate this challenging yet transformative time. Remember you're not alone, and this period holds potential for rediscovery and realignment with what truly matters to you. I want to say transforming professional loss into an opportunity for growth is not for the faint of heart. It requires a lot of patience and effort and courage, and that's the direction you're going. So I want to say there are 3 things that you can put on your calendar or in your notebook. How do you want to spend your valuable time every day in your professional career? And you can note some of those and what those might be. You can note some of those things about considering ways to take action with some of the ideas that I've given you today that I said put on your calendar, and include taking care of yourself as a part of that. I'm going to send you this information. I'll send you guys my presentation, and you can tap into a couple of findings that are just fun. The Good Life Lessons from the World's Longest Scientific Study on Happiness, done by these people from Harvard, which really the ultimate thing that they want to say is building community outside of where you are working is the best thing that you can do, and creating that community and living in it is really the thing that's going to help you live the longest. High levels of support in your relationships is the #1 thing that is going to keep you happy. Added a few other things here that are just good information, as well as this TED Talk on over nearly 80 years Harvard study showing how to live a happy and healthy life and what that's all about. And then I want to just plug myself a little bit here and just say that working with this world, I put out there my new book that I published in October of last year. It's available on Amazon, called Over the Rainbow: From the Depths of Grief to Hope. I was a caregiver for several years, and I lost my first husband to ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, when I was 31, and he was just shy of 37. I'm 55 now. I fell into the grief pit. My world was shattered, and I moved forward, finding a new purpose. And I'm telling you, it was messy. It was a messy path. I was stumbling around in the dark, looking for the light switch and my underwear, not finding both for years. Okay. So I want to say that was 20 years ago. Okay. But I want to say that if you're looking for a book that is inspiring, that might make you cry, but it is about resilience. This is a book about grief, but mostly it's a book about the power of love and resilience and moving forward and creating the life that you really, really want to have, despite what you have been through. You can also get it at Boulder Bookstore. And I share some pictures just because my husband now says, pictures speak a million words. This was my beloved Grant from a long time ago when we got married. And then this was before he died. And I want to say that walking that journey as a caregiver with him for 4.5 years at a young age, and then rebuilding my life because I wasn't taking an early retirement at 31 years old. And professionally, I've been through a lot of different journeys. I'm bringing that to my clients and helping them to know that you can go through some really horrible, bad stuff. You can come through to the other side of it. You can build an amazing life for yourself and be ideally where you want to be. And I'm here to support you in your journey and helping you get there. And I really appreciate your time today. And I've loved connecting with all of you. So my information is here. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to do a complimentary session, get on my calendar. And if you don't find room, just tell me when you want to try to meet with me and I'll make that happen. Okay. I want to support all of you. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sheila. I so appreciate the topic that's probably not touched on as much as it, in my opinion, probably should be. There's the tactical, how to find a job, how to do all those steps, and then there's the support piece. And you touched on all of that today. And I also thank you so much for the vulnerability of sharing the story of the book. I think that's awesome. Super appreciate all of that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. Reach out to me today. Okay.
And we
Thank
put
you,
all
Sheila.
of your contact information in our chat because I know you got to log off real quick. So everybody reach out to Sheila. She's a wonderful, wonderful resource and she's here to support you. She is a cheerleader for you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a fabulous day.
Thank you, Sheila.
Put that self-care on your list. Okay.
Have a great day.
Thank you.